Hello everyone, my name is Petr Mareš. I am a member of Frontend team in Line Taiwan office, and today I will be talking about how we share UI components between Line projects. This talk is the last part of presentations about Line design system. Previously, Alan shared general information about our design system, and after him was presentation from Akihiro about our icon system. Line offers various services in the global scene. Besides its famous instant messaging, there are many other web products like Line Today, Line Spot, or Line Travel. As engineers, we tend to be lazy and reuse as many things as possible. Everyone heard about do not repeat yourself principle, right? But in large companies like Line, with many offices across the globe, it may be difficult to discover what other teams already implemented. So what often happens is we end up making some components over and over again. That's why we are excited to have Line Design System Library, which our designers are working on. This will save a lot of development time. Most importantly, this will deliver consistent UI and UX to our users. But unfortunately, from our experience, it takes time and many iterations to implement actual, reusable, and standardized components which are flexible enough for all product range. So we started thinking, what if we let developers reuse already existing components from different projects if it suits their needs? We wanted to create a place, a sharing platform, where different teams, front-end engineers, planners, and designers can contribute, discover, and collaborate on UI components. We consider these as three key elements of success. We considered many options, which were in the end reduced to two. Create either a dedicated library or build a platform using open source solution from BitDev. Before making our final decisions, we carefully compared pros and cons of each of these two options. A common approach is to publish all components in a single library package. This solution, however, presents some problems. Corporations like Line have many front-end projects, many of them using different frameworks. Some are written using Vue, some use React, and so on. How do we choose the best framework? This is not a major issue since we can make our library publish web components which can be consumed by most modern frameworks. Bigger problem is with contribution. There is usually a dedicated team working on library. If you find a bug or want to add a feature, you may need to wait significant amount of time before it is released. This is kind of linked to another problem, versioning. All components in libraries are same version. No independent updates per component are possible. Every project using this library will have to update the version no matter its relevance. The advantage, on the other hand, is that browsing and preview of components can be used by Storybook. With this feature and plugins, it means almost no development time would be required. Using Bit CLI tool allows developers of any projects to isolate, version, and export components with almost no changes into existing code. The only downside for this approach is that we have to implement our own web service to browse and preview existing components. This is the solution we chose. Let's briefly check how does it work. On the left side, you can see various Line web services like Shopping, Today, or Spot. It doesn't matter if the project uses Vue, React, or web components, or just vanilla JavaScript. Any component from any of these projects can be exported to our sharing platform by using Bit CLI. After the component is exported, it is available on the sharing platform's website where users can search and test components to decide if it's usable in their project. Every component on sharing platform is automatically published to our private NPM and Bit registries. and it can be installed into other projects from these registries. I previously mentioned 3 key elements of success, so let's have a look at those now. I will start with contribution. To be able to export components, project needs to be initialized as bit workspace. In next step, user defines which components to export. It is done by defining component name and files. Bit helps to identify dependencies if there are many. It is also required to define compiler if component is written, for example, in Vue or React. After the component can be tagged with new version. But before new version is assigned, Bit checks if all dependencies are properly added. Last step is to export your components. If everything went well, components can be found on Sharing Platform's website and installed in other projects. To discover existing components, users use Sharing Platform's website. Besides component searching, it displays README for each component if it exists. It is also possible to browse source code of all components files. But most importantly, it has a live playground. We mount instance of the component in a sandbox and detect components props and slots, which can be modified to see all possible variations. Playground also supports different themes and resizing so that the users can have idea how the components would look in different applications. All these configurations can be saved into presets, which can be displayed by other users as well. And Playground can also be embedded into other websites as well. Last key element is collaboration. It has to be smooth. With our sharing platform, it is very easy to follow this scenario. Imagine designers from Line today want to introduce new component, an image slider. Frontend members implement it with all the features required and export it to our sharing platform. Then, similar component is required by Line News, but it is missing a feature. Frontend engineer from Line News can import the component to their project and add the missing feature. This change can be used in their product without even being pushed back to sharing platform. But once their code is reviewed, they decide to publish their version to sharing platform too, because this feature makes this component more reusable. After that, Line travel team wants to use this component too, but while testing their code, they find a bug. They fix the issue and publish it to sharing platform so that every team can benefit from it. After that, LDS team finds this component very good, so they decide to refactor it to be reusable by all projects. That's all from my presentation. To quickly summarize what was our goal, we wanted to create a place with possibility to contribute to from any projects. A place where people from different teams can easily find components they need. And lastly, a place where members from every office can smoothly collaborate. I hope we succeeded. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate that you took the time to listen to my presentation.